Hell, good morning. We're going to take and work on the John Deere today. I went up to the John Deere dealer, got me a couple of new coils. This mower runs great, and it seems like once it gets good and warm, they start breaking up a little bit. Everybody keeps telling me that's the coil, so I went up and picked up 2 coils today. I'm just going to go ahead and replace them both. So let's change it and see how it does. And you heard it, time to go to work. Well, right there's the one. And everything is, we just have to make sure that we get the gap set properly there. So let's go from there. Alright, we'll loosen up these 8mm screws, or bolts. Okay. Unplug the wire here. And unplug it up here. That's spark plug. There it is. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but look at that magnet, how that's wore there. Obviously the gap wasn't set right. Looking at this, though, it don't look bad. Okay, we're going to measure the secondary windings on this, and what we're going to do here is set the meter for resistance of 1000 ohms, which is the R right here, when it's I believe to be correct, and connect a tester between the ground of this and the end of the spark plug wire, and it should read between 13 and 21. So let's see if it does. According to that, it's probably about 12. So technically that coil should be good. DNA should be 2.2 to 3.6. So that would be here to here. And that's showing me it's good. So that coil is good. I went ahead and bought 2 new coils because, on the advice of somebody that works on these all the time, that one to me tested good, but I'll change it. It says the air gap on this is 10 to 16 thousandths. So I got a feeler gauge here. And we'll see what these bolts torque in at. This air gap in here on this coil is supposed to be 10 to 16 thousandths. I had my feeler gauge. I got a piece of cardboard that was pretty darn close to that and put behind there. The bolts torque in at 30 inch-pounds, so we'll take and torque those in and then make sure I can still get that piece of cardboard out. Won't seem very tight, but that's 30 inch-pounds. Okay, we're going to have to get that fuel filter out of the way to do this side. On it aren't the factory numbers. Those are, when I put stuff on, I date it. That way, when you come back to it, you know, you can write it in the books and stuff, but for me it's easier just to date it right on the equipment. According to the meter, that other one said it's good. And I haven't checked this, but according to a friend of mine who is a mechanic, he said these coils are breaking down when they're getting hot. And even though they're looking right, they're not. So I'm going to change it on that. I hope he's right. And I went to the John Deere dealer and bought John Deere parts, thinking that you know, it'd be better than aftermarket. You know, fuel, compression. Now we're on spark, so there it is. Just out of curiosity, let's take it over and test it. Between here and here, let's see, should be 2.2 to 3.6. No, that's right, just I don't know if it's 2.2, it might be a little bit low. And then between here, between the end of the spark plug and the ground should be between 13 and 21. And that's probably 12. I mean, it was my meter could be off that much. You know, this is one of those high dollar meters from Walmart. I had a good one, but you know how that goes. Had is always a key word. It's about the same thickness as you know what? Get that there where we can see it. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's torque those down to 30 inch-pounds. And we'll be good to go. It wasn't too bad job. It's just plastic. We don't want to get crazy. Alright. You gotta make sure you don't over tighten these spark plugs. That's why it's a good idea to use a torque wrench. But I'm just gonna snug them here, and we're gonna do a little test drive here. That's on. Alright, I haven't tried to start it yet. I'll start it on camera. In case you were wondering what this was, I wired a temperature gauge in here temporarily, just to see where my temps were. You know, all this has is the light on it, and that's what that is there. So if you see that, instead of the light, I put that gauge there, and I just stuck it up on the dash and dropped the wires around there to a sensor so I could see what the actual temperature of the engine was, see if it was running within range when it was breaking up a little bit. I thought maybe it might be getting hot, but that was not the case here, so we were running within the proper temperature range. It's got an 82 degree Celsius thermostat in it, which would be about 179, somewhere in there, so we were good. Alright, well, let's start it up and see what happens. Alright, let's try it. I'm going to take it for a ride. We'll run it a little bit. I'll be back and I'll let you know how it goes. Well, as you can see, at operating temperature, it still doesn't run like it should. I'll let you know how we come out on this, if anybody's got any tips, but we're going to go for the throttle body and injectors next.